So today I want to talk about family's reaction to recovery. Not to drug addiction, but to recovery. We'll call this the prodigal's brother. Jesus tells the story of the prodigal son. Everybody knows at least the gist of it. It's like this. There's a rich guy who has two sons. One of his sons comes to him and says, basically, I don't feel like waiting around for you to die. I want everything I was going to get. I want my money now while I'm still young. I will, in exchange, give up my birthright, my inheritance, because I'm getting it now. Cool? And the dad says, okay, and does it. He gives him the money. He goes off to the big city and parties like a rock star until he's broke. And he's literally living in a shed with no door. Everything's coming back to Mike right now, because a lot of this has to do with my conversation with him over the weekend. So he parties like a rock star, ends up living in a shed with no door, feeding pigs. He says to himself, screw this. Even my father's servants have enough to eat. I blew it, but I'm going to swallow my pride. I'm going to go home, and I'm going to ask to get a job with my dad. He does. He's on his way home, and it says, while he was still a far way off, while he was still coming home, his father saw him, which means he was looking for him. He was waiting for him. His heart was still going out to him. He tells his servant, the father tells the servants, get a big banquet ready. We are celebrating. My son has returned. There is a special place in heaven for rejoicing for people who have screwed up and turned. That's ultimately, there's only a few themes in the Bible, and that's one of them.
It's a big one.
Big one, yeah. While the banquet is being prepared, the son comes home, the father throws his arms around him, loves him, welcomes him. You were dead, but now I have you back and you're alive. The other son, who we don't hear about in any of this until now, comes in from working in the fields, sees that there's a banquet being prepared, and says to one of the servants, oh, what's the special occasion? The servant says, your brother has come home, and your father is throwing a banquet for him. Now, here's where most people, including myself, identify with the prodigal's brother. He goes to his dad, and he said, what the hell?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, exactly. I have been here every day, doing what's right, doing what I was supposed to be doing. This screw up wastes all the money, throws his life away, and comes waltzing back in here, and you kill the fatted calf for him. We're putting on the Ritz now for this asshole. He looks at him and he says, everything I have is yours. It's all yours. But he was dead. And now he's alive. And that's worth celebrating. And as I was talking to Mike, who did his message, testimony, call it whatever you want, last Friday, I just kept thinking about his dad's reaction, Mike's dad's reaction. Mike's dad may have given him some crap about it, but when Mike was finally ready, his dad just loved him and said, okay, how are we going to do this? And according to Mike, so did his sister and his brother. Everybody in the family was incredibly supportive. And that's awesome.
Yeah, you really need that.
Yeah. That shows a picture of grace that I don't have in me.
It's a hard place to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you struggled a little bit.
Yeah.
When I got clean.
I wanted you to be happy and healthy so badly. Like the father. But then as it was happening, I was suddenly like, wow, there was so much more of the prodigal's brother in me than I wanted to admit.
Yeah, you and...
And the Bible doesn't say he didn't get over it, by the way. I assume it's just a story that Jesus made up to illustrate grace.
Right.
But
you and Tyven had a hard time, both
yeah.
of you, with the Cashapp.
Yeah.
It's difficult when you're new to reality and you're just getting up of whatever addiction you have and you're new to sobriety. Whatever your addiction is, if it's shopping or gambling or drugs or alcohol, within the first few months you're kind of high on your own accomplishments.
Sure.
And you're really excited about the fact that it's been a month or two, or it's been 6 weeks, or it's been 3 months, or it's been 2 weeks, or whatever your number is.
Right. Yeah.
The people around you are still like, yeah, but just a minute ago you were an asshole. Like, I don't understand. And
it's not a laughing matter, but it's true. It's so true.
I remember having this conversation with you going, hey, catch up. That was so last semester.
Yeah, you're like...
Why are you still mad about it? No, get over it.
You're like 6 weeks clean or 2 months clean. And one day you were mad and hurt at me. And I was like, why are you mad at me? But you were right. You were right. I will never admit that to anyone on my dying day.
I love
that you
when
were
you
right.
say that I'm right. Oh, it makes me feel so good. It's my favorite.
But it's got to be a team. I mean, nobody's an island. I know that you can say, I did this, I cleaned up, and it's absolutely true. But it's like the NASCAR drivers saying, I won the race. Well, yes, they did, but it was easier with a team.
Oh,
Changing those tires was easier.
Right. Right. Yeah, and it's really hard to understand the destruction that you caused along the way when you're that new and you're still looking for kudos. You're still like, pat me on the back and tell me I'm doing a good job so that I can get through another day. Right. Tell me I'm doing really good today because I'm really feeling drawn towards whatever my addiction is.
Right.
And I really need to know that I'm doing a good job and I need that reassurance early on. Right. The people around you are like, but just a second ago you were an asshole. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to be encouraging when I still remember what just happened before today.
Right.
And that's
sure, because the rest of us were in our right mind.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That's a really tough place to be with the people around you.
Yeah.
Just trying to continue to encourage this screw up.
One of our kids used to call you all the time while you were out using and doing stupid stuff. Call you and call you and call you. And then when you get home, he would be mad and go in his bedroom and not talk
and
to you.
Hide.
But he knew you were home.
Right.
He knew you were safe. But it was infuriating because it's like you've called and called and called and now you don't want to talk to me. You're mad. But I get it. You want that person to be good. It's like the person who says, I'm mad because you didn't ask me to do something. And then you say, okay, well, you want to do whatever? And then they go, no, I'm mad now. I get that.
No, I'm mad now. You are mad now.
Yeah.
It was funny.
And I got over it.
For a long time.
I got over it. But it's a transition for everybody because you get used to a thing. Then when the rules change, where it becomes a real problem is when the rules change and the person gets so discouraged who's made the progress.
Right. And that's what becomes a really big problem. That actually happened to one of my sons. There was a time when he had overcome his addiction and was going strong.
Oh, he was doing great.
Just doing really, really motivated. And his girlfriend just kept telling him, I know you're doing that again. I know that's what you're doing again. And browbeat him, expected him to do it again and expected him so ferociously that finally he just threw his hands up and said, well, why am I even trying to stay sober? I'm just gonna get beaten up over this anyway. I'm just gonna get accused of it. She's never gonna believe that I'm not doing it, that I am staying sober. Right. So what's the point? And he went right back into his addiction. And he was motivated, and it broke my heart. And I even told her at the time, don't do that. You are going to make him do it again. But I kind of think that was her whole motive.
Yeah.
I think that was her whole plan. I think that she felt like she was being left behind.
Because she hadn't overcome
her addiction. And unfortunately, they're both still in their addictions.
Right.
And
like they tell you in the various AAs, NA, whatever, SA, you have to change your playmates and your playpens. It's really true.
Yes, you really... Well,
not your family.
Really?
Not your family.
No, not the sober people around you.
Where you play your game.
But it is possible for the sober people around you to not be encouraging, to continue to accuse and be concerned, which is normal.
Sure.
When you have this person who's been stealing from you and lying to you and sneaking around and doing all these horrible, destructive things behind your back for all this time, who knows how long they've been in their addiction and doing these horrible things, and now they're coming out of it, and you're supposed to just snap out of it and just suddenly trust them and respect them and like them again.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen like that. You have to earn that. In the meantime, the person who is the sober person in the situation, just watching you change all over the place, is still wary of what's going to happen next. Because at any point in time, you could fall off the wagon.
Yeah. Well, in that respect, drug addiction is a family issue. It's a team issue.
It really, really is.
And if the family doesn't heal, if the team doesn't heal, it just makes it that much harder.
Yes, that's really, really very true. I have that same issue with my extended family. We don't have any communication with them at all. We don't talk to them at all.
More specifically, they don't talk to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And vice versa.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, nobody wants to be where they're not wanted.
No, right. I'm not trying to be there either. They don't want me there, and I don't want to be there. So that's pretty good for everybody at this point. But it's something that eats me alive on a daily basis, is that I won't have that connection ever again.
And it was huge for you.
It was huge for me. I'm an only child, and that my extended family was all I had.
Yeah.
All I had. And I don't know my dad. I know my dad's family. I don't know any of that. So really, what I'm left with is my mom and my children and my husband, your family,
right?
Which has been great. And whoever you pick up along the way that becomes your family.
Sure. Your gang.
Yeah. Yeah. And they become your family. And that's okay.
But for some people, the reason that
But it's excruciating.
Yeah, I know. I've seen you cry. For some people, the reason that they turned to some outside thing in the first place was the dynamic of their life. Probably for everybody. There was something there that just hurt.
Yeah.
So if your family was maybe part of the reason why part of your excuse for the path you took, maybe expecting them to change after you've come out of it is...
Yeah, it's been like 15 years since I've really had any communication with any of them at all for any reason. I mean, it's been so long. I'm sure they've changed. I've changed.
Right.
I'm not the same person. I don't know them. They don't know me.
I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, a pastor, who is one of the nicest, sweetest people that we know. She is just a wonderful, caring, loving, giving person. And I had this conversation with her last week that just cracked me up. She was telling me about a dynamic within her own family. And then she said, you know, because everybody's an asshole at some point to someone. And I said, really? Really? Give me an example in your own life. She did. She was just, boom, she was right there and she told me something. And I'm like, really? You? So sometimes you get people who are the nicest, sweetest people you'd ever want to meet. And then there's one person that they're just an asshole to. That's a dynamic that they've got going. You know, maybe nobody else even believes it. I have a dear friend of mine, another person. I have a dear friend of mine whose father beat him mercilessly for several years. His father was an alcoholic. He was also a pillar of the community, a deacon in his church. Everybody loved this guy. Everybody thought he was great. The family had 3 kids, and the one older than this guy and the one younger than this guy were perfectly safe. But this guy got taken out to the garage and got the hell beaten out of him on a regular basis. Sometimes people just pull out the worst.
Yeah. I don't understand that.
I know, we took a dark turn here. Sorry about that.
I don't know what just happened.
Sorry about that. We've been posting these videos on social media so that people can see them, including people in our own communities, a few little towns around here. And someone posted, and I know this is about the videos we've been posting, because mostly what you see on here is stuff about garage sales and, hey, who's the jerk with the dog that got out, or, you know, that kind of stuff. But this person just posted, hey, drug addicts, success is calling you. All you need to do is want it as much as you want your next fix. And I know that's about the videos we've been posting, because we've been getting comments and hundreds of views.
Yeah, that's interesting. You tell that guy when he cleans up. We'll be happy to interview him on here too.
Yeah, well, you know this person.
Yeah,
I don't actually know.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
But someone else commented. There were several comments. And I know some of these people, and I know that most of them are still in their addiction. Most of them are pretty catty. But this one woman wrote, "Unfortunately, it's not that easy for some. It took me a long time to get here. I lost my brother in October to an overdose. Anyone who's using that sees this. The drugs don't love you, but your people do. Go home. Call your people."
And that really is the message right there.
Yeah, that's the
That
prodigal father.
really is the message right there. Celebrate your people.
Love
Don't
them.
berate them. Don't condemn them. Don't beat them over the head with their past discretions or anything. And keep your past in your behind. That's where it belongs, like Pumbaa said.
What's that thing that you said about sinners and saints?
Oh, every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. That's really very true. You can't beat yourself over your own head with your own righteous stick. Don't beat anybody else over the head with your righteous stick.
Yeah.
That doesn't work, and that doesn't help anybody stay clean or sober or want to be in recovery. You can browbeat somebody right back into their addiction, right back into it. Don't do that. Try to be as encouraging as possible, as frustrating as it is, as much as you remember that they were just an asshole a minute ago. Try to remember that they're trying hard to do what's right now, and just encourage the good behavior, because just like a puppy or a little kid, they'll respond to that. But if you browbeat them with their past, everything but the kitchen sink, you got to learn from your past and move on. Stop bringing it up, and don't beat people over the head with it, and don't continue to accuse them of something they are trying to let go of. You have to learn to evolve and change and ebb and flow with the people around you.
Yeah.
And it's hard. I know it's got to be really, really hard to be on the other side where some people around you are making these giant changes and you've been on guard the whole time, and they're like, chill out, man. We're in a new place now. That is so last semester.
The life of Christ is a life of mercy and a life of healing. He says, "Who accuses this woman? Let him cast the first stone." He said, "None of you? Then neither do I." He also said, "I didn't come for you. If you think that you've got it all together, if you think that you're better, if you think that you're the one, I didn't come for you.
I'm not here for you.
I came for the sick. Those who are well don't need a doctor."
Yeah.
So you want to be Jesus with skin on? Get out of your ivory towers, get out of your fancy churches with your nice carpet, and get your ass out on the street and do something for somebody. And if you're doing it, then please don't feel condemned about anything I said.
Or just reach out to the people that you love, that you know are hurting, are in their
No.
addiction.
I'm sorry, but that's harder.
That's a lot harder. It's way easier to help people you don't know.
Exactly, yes.
It really is a lot easier to help people you don't know.
I know. It's easier to build a new family than to repair your old one.
Oh,
You have to swallow your pride.
That's horrible. Yeah, that's sad. That's just sad. Every sinner has a future.
We are all just walking each other home. I'm Mark. This is Micquette. Have a great day.